Firms gain competitive advantage by succeeding in three key areas: product differentiation, innovation, and improved operational effectiveness. Apple found a way to include all three strategies into its business, allowing it to become a fierce competitor in the market. Apple created a unique brand of products that were almost impossible to be replicated by competitors. All of their products have distinctive designs that have unique software, such as the iOS operating system, and a variety of unique hardware and devices. By developing a variety of exceptional products, Apple was able to spark consumer interest and establish a brand loyalty. This strong consumer base helped Apple to justify its higher prices, for it was known as an exclusive brand with high quality products. In order to provide these products, Apple has to continuously innovate. The company is known for its game-changing innovations that consistently bring new, notably better products to the market. For example, in 2006, Jobs initiated a shift to the use of Intel chips, which allowed production of faster, more energy-efficient laptops. It also allowed Microsoft Windows to be run on Apple, therefore eliminating switching costs for consumers that were currently using Windows systems on non-Apple computers. Of course, Apple's most notable innovation was the creation of the iPhone. It was the first device of its kind to combine existing technology into one super machine. The iPhone was characterized as a touchscreen iPod, a revolutionary mobile phone, and a device providing breakthrough internet connections. The launch of the iPhone did require Apple to spend millions in research and development, but it was a well-directed investment because it generated roughly 50% of total profits gained in the cell phone industry. Most of Apple's success could be contributed to Steve Jobs' business practices. When he regained control of Apple in '97, the company was within months of bankruptcy. However, he transformed the operations process by narrowing Apple's focus from 15 product lines to just 4. With a more simplified strategy, Apple was able to get new products out on the market sooner. Updates were released every 12 to 18 months, so Apple always remained one step ahead of the competition. Jobs also had a strict confidentiality policy for Apple employees. Such a strategy ensured protection of intellectual property. If the technological advances were leaked to Apple's competitors, then the advantage would have been compromised. By keeping the information top secret, Apple prevented other firms from easily entering the market. In order to ensure this privacy, policies dictate that violation of the agreement was grounds for termination. Also, employees were only granted limited access to different departments in the building. New hires had limited tasks until they proved themselves loyal to the company.
I will be doing an analysis of the personal computer industry and contextualizing Apple's failures using Porter's 5 forces. Here you can see the Porter 5 forces. Suppliers within the PC industry can be historically separated into 3 categories. We have the suppliers of the operating systems, the suppliers of microprocessors, and the suppliers of other parts such as memory drives and disks, etc. As you obviously know, Microsoft is the king of OS software distribution. They have an intense amount of supplier power because of the fact that they have historically had no real competitors and the sheer size of Microsoft as a company. The threat of credible forward integration is there. Looking at microprocessors, Intel reigns king. They are in the same position as Microsoft. The environment does change a little bit, however, when looking at the suppliers of other parts. There is fierce competition amongst these distributors, which leads to a very weak supplier power. These companies are also much smaller. Because of the strength of certain aspects of the supplier power, buyer power has been historically quite weak. The only buyer that does have a lot of strength is the consumer due to the high price elasticity of PCs. Rivalry amongst OS and microprocessors was low/non-existent. However, rivalry amongst PC manufacturers has been fierce. PCs have had a very high price elasticity over the past 30 years, therefore brand loyalty has not been particularly strong. There are also no costs to switch from one PC company to another since they all use Microsoft's operating system. Rivalry has also increased by the large number of firms in the space. High fixed costs from suppliers, having a highly perishable product, keep in mind new computers have been coming out on an almost yearly basis. Market growth also slowed a little bit in the 2000s, which led to a bit of an industry shakeout and a slew of mergers and acquisitions, like Lenovo acquiring IBM's personal computer business. The threat of substitutes is something that is relatively recent to emerge. There has always been the laptop, which has encroached on the home PC market, but laptops are still for the most part produced by the same companies that make the PCs. In the past 10 years, however, we have seen an increase in the functionality of smartphones and even TVs themselves, with such advancements like Samsung's Smart TV, which can stream Netflix, HBO Go, and even Pandora. The threat of new entrants has been quite low in the PC industry because of how fierce competition has been. It has been almost impossible to get a competitive advantage. This has slightly changed in the mid to late 2000s with the emerging markets such as China and in other Asian countries. Apple has clearly struggled historically. One of the largest problems they have had is sourced from them keeping such tight control on their hardware and software. Apple was actually first out of the gate with a personal computer, but IBM came in 1981 and smoked them because they embraced an easy-to-clone model. Apple has also struggled because up until 2006, they were using IBM processors and not Intel ones. Apple did not have enough buyer power to get the strong processors it needed. These slow processors were the reason for a 62% income drop between 1981 and 1984. This also hampered Apple's ability to go with its high-end product differentiation strategy. Since PC elasticity was so high, a luxury product that didn't work very well logically didn't do very well. In addition to slow hardware, Apple has also struggled in the software market. It was only in 2006 that a Microsoft Office suite was developed for Apple products. Slow hardware and lack of software is the biggest hamstring on Apple's growth historically.
Let's talk about three of Apple's four product lines. Their computer line, Macintosh, their version of the MP3 player, the iPod, and a relatively new kind of tech, their smartphone, known as the iPhone. In Macintosh, Apple follows a differentiation strategy. The use of sleek design and trend-setting user interfaces draws in the mass crowds with eye-catching visuals, while their high quality and use of expensive materials ensure a very nice tactile sensation. The use of high-quality materials and cutting-edge designs allows Macintosh to dominate the high end of the PC market. Over 91% of computers priced above $1,000 are Macs as of 2011, and sales are growing faster than the industry as of fourth quarter 2011. Apple's portable computer sales, i.e. laptops, show an accelerating growth rate since 2009. They have a sales compound annual growth rate of 13.27% over the last 5 years, and a higher compound annual growth rate of 20.15% over just the last 2 years. Due to Apple's dominance of the education market, users are introduced to Apple's unique OS at an early age. Users exhibit a tendency to be reluctant to switch due to high switching costs for the customers. Taken together, Macintosh has a loyal pipeline of future customers and shows strong growth in its computer business. Its market share has risen to third in the last few years, yet has shown weakness in the third quarter of 2013. This may not be a problem, as we will discuss later. The iPod was introduced in October of 2001. Eventually, it evolved into 5 separate families: the Classic, Nano, Shuffle, Mini, and Touch. The iPod is nearing the end of its product life cycle, however. Sales peaked in 2009 and have a slow decline. But it's not all bad, as Steve Jobs foretold of the iPhone cannibalizing iPod sales. In fact, the longevity of this product in the face of the iPhone is remarkable. The iPhone was released in June 2007. It set the stage for what a modern smartphone should be, revolutionizing the industry in the process. Research in Motion held dominance in the smartphone business for many years as purveyors of phones that do everything. Apple's new take on the phone destroyed consumers' expectations for the tech and has led to RIM's relatively rapid downfall as they have struggled to play catch-up. iPhone sales have an annual compound growth rate of 60.32% sales over 5 years and a compound annual growth rate of 68.39% over the last 2 years up to 2011. In fact, the iPhone is so popular, many people line up for days at a time to be the first to get their hands on new releases. Speaking of which, Apple has its own retail stores, which give users a central location for tech support, product demos, and a snazzy retail experience. It also introduces new customers to products they might not normally interact with, a great marketing tool. Apple also has AppleCare, a warranty service which pushes prices of Apple products even higher and is a nice source of extra revenue for Apple. So how does all this come together? By using Apple's digital hub strategy. This unifies the data from all devices in one area, allowing seamless connectivity and data transfer. This value-adding, ease-of-use product ensures a consumer with one Apple product will be incentivized to purchase more. The use of iCloud, the App Store, and iTunes is the culmination of this strategy. As noted earlier, Mac sales have flattened in the third quarter of 2013, but this may not be too worrying of a trend. Some consumers use portable devices for productivity and media consumption. Most casual users, however, use the tech only for consumption. The iPad is a much more suited item for this use and is a natural step for most consumers.
After nearing bankruptcy in 1997, Apple rebounded with the presentation of the iPod in 2001, iTunes in 2003, and the iPhone in 2007. Each of these innovations either created or revolutionized the market they were in, and because of the strong, consistent front Apple presented, the iPad had a strong foundation to launch from. The App Store in 2008 only furthered their strong reputation, with 4 billion apps downloaded within the first 18 months of launch. Prior to the iPad's launch, the tablet industry was nearly non-existent, and resultingly, the demand for a new tablet was very uncertain. But within 2 years, 55 million iPads had been sold, creating a $35 billion business. Because the iPad essentially established the tablet market, they will likely hold a portion of the market share in the long term solely because of their reputation. In addition, the App Store for the iPad is likely to maintain a significant advantage over the other competitors because of their integrated operating system, which developers much prefer to the numerous versions of Android operating systems. Although the initial growth and popularity of the iPad was impressive, the hype is not sustainable, and the dominating market share they had in the beginning has already diminished. From 2011 to 2012, the percent of iPads owned by tablet users went from 81% to 52%, showing a trend that's likely to continue as other companies gain their footing and their reputations as tablet producers. In addition, an aspect of allure with Apple is that they're a luxury product line in the technology world, and with luxury comes a price tag. Because the iPad cost is, in many cases, much higher than the competitors' prices, the customers that can afford the product are limited. Another weakness of the iPad is its incompatibility of its operating system with Adobe Flash. Initially, the iPad was viewed mainly as a tool to consume content, but with the App Store providing a huge number of opportunities of innovation for developers especially, the uses of tablets are likely to expand. Because Apple is a historically innovative company, their likelihood to anticipate opportunities for their product to expand and their usability and to develop software that can support these expansions is higher than that of their competitors, especially considering the historical trend of the last 10 years or so. While the opportunities in regards to product expansion are significant relative to the market share and other like statistics, the opportunities of the iPad are limited. The iPad's initial domination of the market share has fallen, and the probability of them dominating the market again is slim, and in regard to that, their opportunities are limited. When Apple launched the iPad, it took everyone by surprise. As customers marveled, competitors scrambled to put a comparable product on the market. Android-based tablets were rushed to the market in late 2010, and Microsoft took a full year and a half to enter the race. This allowed the iPad to take the early lead, but now that Android and Microsoft are producing competing products, the market share is no longer a no-brainer as it was in the beginning. In addition to other tablets gaining trust and popularity, the Ultrabook laptops are also made to compete directly with tablet sales and also threaten the high volume of sales of the iPad.
You just made for love. I need a ooh la la.